I'd now like to call this December 15th, 2011 Cookeville City Council meeting to order. Could we have a roll call, please?
Councilman Anderson.
Present.
Councilman Woodford.
Present.
Mayor Swallows.
Here.
Vice Mayor Epps.
Here.
Councilman Albright.
Here.
All present.
Thank you. Would everyone please stand for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, consider approval of agenda as presented.
Mayor, we need to, don't see anybody here from Tech, but they had requested that we move item 10 to the top of the agenda, so why don't we go ahead and move item 10 to just after item 2?
Okay. Item 2.1.
Yeah, whatever. 2.10, I guess.
All right. To have a motion for approval of the agenda as amended.
So approved. So moved.
So, second.
All right. All vote.
5 yes votes. Motion carries.
Thank you. Item 2, consider approval of minutes of council meeting held on December the 1st, 2011.
So moved.
Second.
All right. All vote.
5 yes votes. Motion carried.
All right. On to item 2.1. Or item 10, actually. Consider resolution R11-1217, commending the TTU football team on their OVC championship. Sponsor is Mr. Jim Shipley.
I think,
And I'm gonna read it.
Councilman Anderson's
Alma
gonna-
wanted to sponsor that.
Okay.
Yes. Let's see if the. Just wait a minute. Chief Terry is.
BT, tell them they don't have to wand.
Police officers held them up outside. They probably the rings were so heavy, had so much metal on them, they probably couldn't get through the metal detector.
Their OVC championship ring?
Yeah.
Oh, it's Mark.
Ah, good mark.
Don Watson.
Okay.
It's smart.
Okay, good.
Got us a few players. All right.
Yeah, all right.
Good. Thank you for coming. Whereas the Tennessee Tech football team recently earned their first OVC championship title in 36 years, and whereas the Golden Eagles defeated Austin Peay to clinch the championship in front of a crowd of 9,142 fans and students at TTU's Tucker Stadium, and whereas Tech claimed the title for the first time since 1975, and in celebration, students rushed onto the field as the game clock expired and the team was presented the OVC championship trophy on the field. And whereas, with the victory for the OVC championship, Tennessee Tech earned the automatic bid to the NCAA Division I championship playoffs, their first ever appearance in the tournament. And whereas Coach Watson Brown was named the OVC Coach of the Year and is a finalist for the Eddie Robinson Award, a prestigious award that honors the National Coach of the Year in the championship subdivision of football. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of Cookeville, Tennessee, that on behalf of the citizens of the City of Cookeville, sincere congratulations is hereby extended to the Tennessee Tech Golden Eagle football team and athletic staff for their achievements. Now, therefore, be it further resolved that this resolution shall be duly recorded and filed in the City Clerk's office. Adopted this the 15th day of December 2011. And we have a plaque here. I guess it'd be better if I...
Get down there, Alma.
Yeah, I'll just step down. That's it.
Do it right.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you
That's great.
Thank you.
I think they want to get a photo on.
Get in there, Alma.
It's okay. I'm not running again.
That's even more reason. Thank you. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Good deal.
We apologize for being late, but both these young men graduated on Saturday, and we just
You go, Tech.
Hey.
All right.
That's great. Congratulations.
Hey, Watson, you know, they don't have their numbers on. Why don't you introduce it?
This is Corey Watson. This is number 12.
Yeah.
One of our best defensive players. And this is Scott Schweitzer, was number 78, an offensive lineman and a All-OVC player this year. So
That's great.
All right.
two of our best
Congratulations.
players. Two of our best players.
Thank you,
Good to
guys.
have you here.
So not only do we produce OVC champions, we also produce graduates, right?
That's it. Yay.
There you go. All right. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
All right. All vote.
5 yes votes, motion carries.
All right.
Good job.
All right. Old business item 3, consider on second and final reading ordinance 111119, rezoning 2001 Fisk Road from HM Heavy Manufacturing to CI Commercial Industrial. Sponsor is Mr. James Mills.
Mayor and council members, the property proposed for rezoning is depicted on the screen. It consists of approximately 4.7 acres. Here's an aerial view. As you can see, it's contiguous with CI zoning to the north and with HM zoning on the remaining sides. The property is most recently utilized as the location for Southland Brick and Block Company. The purpose of the request is to allow this property to be converted to a church. Rezoning to CI would allow such a use, but would also allow it to revert back to industrial use should the church decide to relocate. Proposed rezoning is recommended by the Planning Commission. The Planning Department concurs with this, and we've received no calls or comments since first reading.
Thank you, Mr. Mills. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions from the council?
No.
Comments? Any questions from the audience? Seeing none, all vote.
5 yes votes, motion carries.
All right, item 4, consider on second and final reading ordinance 111120, annexation of South Willow Avenue area. Sponsors Mr. James Mills.
Mayor and council members, the property is depicted on the screen. It consists of approximately 102 acres. As we discussed 2 weeks ago at first reading, this annexation was initiated due to improvements related to the construction of the Highlands Industrial Park, which is located just west of the area. These improvements include widening and realigning and extending at least Seminary Road, and also includes the provision of sewer to a significant portion of this area. This area is located entirely within our urban growth boundary, and as you know, the urban growth boundary is the area identified and approved by the state and the county for which we're expected to grow into over a 20-year period. At our previous meeting in December, we approved the plan of services by resolution, so that's been adopted. The proposed annexation with the establishment of RS-20 and CI zoning has been approved by the Planning Commission and is recommended by the Planning Department.
Thank you. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Questions from the council?
Have you had any further phone calls or
We had an
comments?
additional call from Kay Schreckengoss, which I reported 2 weeks ago, that she's still opposed and may seek legal action, but she is opposed.
Anyone else? Any questions, comments from the audience? Seeing none, all vote.
5 yes votes, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mills. I like your tie, too. Item 5, hold a public hearing and consider on second and final reading ordinance 111221, amending the budgets of the general and quality of life funds of the city of Cookeville for the fiscal year ended June 30th, 2012. Sponsors Mr. Jim Shipley.
Mr. Davidson, you're the finance director. You want to handle this? I'll do it, but I mean, it's, you know, I don't want to.
The amendment has not changed since first reading, and it's related to the elimination of the student firefighter program, and it's going to reallocate funding for that to ultimately fund 6 new fireman positions, full-time positions in the fire department. So it reallocates funds for that. The second part of the amendment is for funding that will be contributed to the Tennessee Parks and Greenways Foundation for the Cummins Falls project, and that's a $25,000 budget amendment, and those funds would come from the fund balance of the Quality of Life Fund. But I would recommend your approval.
Thank you, Mr. Davidson. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions from the council? Any from the audience? Seeing none, all vote.
5 yes votes, motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Davidson. All right, on to the consent agenda. Set a date, 1/19/2012, for a public hearing on ordinance 11-1222, rezoning 1710 White Road from CG, General Commercial, to RS10, Single Family Residential, and rezoning a portion of the adjoining property from RS10, Single Family Residential, to CG, General Commercial. Item 7, consider awarding bid for meal service for the father-daughter date night, sponsors Leisure Services Department. And item 8, consider awarding bid for photography for father-daughter date night, Leisure Services Department. And item 9, consider awarding bid for poles from the electric department. I have a motion for approval on this consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments from council? Seeing none, all vote.
5 yes votes, motion carries.
All right, new business. Item 11, consider resolution 11-1218, adopting a debt management policy, sponsors Mr. Mike Davidson.
Mayor and council members, sometime back, about a year ago, the state mandated that all cities and counties adopt a debt management policy. And so this this policy is to be adopted by 12/31/2011, or at least, if not by then, prior to when we actually issue any more debt in 2012 or any time in the future, we'll have to adopt a policy. But this particular policy, the state's goal in requiring cities and counties to adopt a debt management policy is to promote transparency to the council, to the citizens, taxpayers, ratepayers, just to make sure that every vested party is aware of everything that's involved in the debt and what's happening when it comes to the role of debt and when cities issue bonds. The policy itself requires full disclosure related to the cost to issue that debt, any ongoing and recurring costs, and any compensation that would be paid to professionals, so that there's full disclosure. Everyone knows who's being paid the entire cost to issue that debt. It also outlines and requires that bond counsel, financial advisors, and underwriters put in writing their role on each engagement that they're hired to perform, the activities that they're performed to do related to the bond, any bond issues or debt issues. It requires those same professionals to disclose any business relationships they might have amongst themselves, so that there will be no conflicts of interest in regards to the debt issue. The policy itself defines debt, and in a quick note, it basically is saying that anything that the city agrees to pay over time with or without interest that's basically what it defines the debt as. It outlines the approvals that's required to issue that debt and the role and use of when we would undertake bond issues or any type of debt issues, and establishes the types of debt that we can issue, which would be GO bonds, revenue and tax bonds, tax increment financing. It's all outlined in that policy. And again, the policy is required by the state, and it'll get us in compliance with the state. And once it's approved, hopefully tonight, I will file it with the state as I'm required to do. So I'd recommend your approval and be happy to try to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, Mr. Davidson. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions from the council?
Yes, it's my understanding that you have said that these are things that we've always done. We just have to have it in black and white, basically.
That's true. There's nothing in the policy that's contrary or different than what we've done in the past. It doesn't go against any of the bonds that we currently have issued, and it just puts in writing the things we've been doing in the past when it comes to issuing debt. Yep.
Anyone else?
Mr. Mayor. I was actually, when we left our work session, I was thinking about, those Buy America bonds that we did. Were they Buy America bonds? What they were?
Build America bonds.
Build America bonds. Yes. Would these fall under? I mean, would we continue to be able to buy those if necessary, or would it?
That program ended. What the IRS had set up and the federal government had set up, that ended last December 2010.
Okay.
So that's not an option going forward at this point.
Anyway. But those are grandfathered in.
Oh, those are, yes, they are. They're fine.
Any other questions?
No.
Anything from the audience? Seeing none, I'll vote.
5 yes votes, motion carries.
All right. On to item 12. Consider authorizing the city manager to execute contracts for the 2012 health insurance plan, Blue Cross Blue Shield administrative fees, and the stop-loss coverage. Sponsors Mr. Mike Davidson.
Mayor and Council, I have just a couple of slides just to kind of give you background information on the health plan again. And then ultimately I have two things that I'll ask you to approve, which would be the Blue Cross admin contract and the stop-loss contract. But again, the city's been self-funded in terms of health insurance for the last 14 years. And we participate in the Blue Cross Blue Shield network, and Blue Cross Blue Shield administers our plan. We purchase stop-loss coverage that guards and helps guard against the risk for those major catastrophic claims. Currently, right now, we're on a January renewal when it comes to stop-loss coverage and Blue Cross coverage. So, and that's another piece of something I'm going to be discussing later is the renewal time. We actually have right now 1,052 people that are covered by the plan. That's up from 1,009 last year at this time. The average age of everyone that's covered is 37.9. The average age of the employees and the retirees themselves is 50.4. Recently, just to kind of give you an idea of things we've done over the last few years, last couple of years to try to help control claims. Claims have been inching up the last 3 years. And so we started in March of 2010. We implemented a network change. We went from Blue Cross Blue Shield's Network P to Network S, and that was an attempt to help lower claims. Blue Cross said there's larger savings in that Network S than there was in Network P. So we made that change in March 2010. Last year, effective in January, the employees' deductibles were increased from $500 to $1,000. But we left the max out of pocket that the employees pay at $1,500. So, but we did increase the deductible at $500. We initiated the Employee Get Fit program, and that's still ongoing. And we're looking at that plan and looking at any enhancements we can make to continue to get more people and more employees involved in that. We also partnered with Cookeville Regional Medical Center to establish an employee clinic. And that seems to be going over well, and we're going to discuss with them the possibility in 2012 of opening that up to employee spouses. That's been something that the employees have been asking about all year long, if we could get that opened up for spouses. But what I actually have for you to consider for the 2012 health plan is basically no changes to the benefits that we currently offer. So that means the deductibles would stay at $1,000. The max out-of-pocket would stay at $1,500. And the employee premiums would not be changed either for 2012. We currently, as I mentioned earlier, we're on a January renewal period when it comes to the admin and the stop loss. And what I'd like to do is move that renewal period to a fiscal year basis so it coincides with our budget, makes it easier for us to budget these kind of fixed costs when it comes to admin and the stop loss carrier. So what we've done is discuss with Blue Cross Blue Shield the prospects of doing that, and they have guaranteed us a rate hold. Currently what we're paying them in 2011 to administer the plan belong to their network. They've guaranteed us a rate hold through June 30th of 2014. So, but tonight's contract, and what I'd ask you to consider approving, would actually be from January 1 to June 30th of 2013. And then and that fee we pay them is $40.53 per contract, basically per employee that's covered. And we also have stop-loss insurance, and that is provided by a company called Highmark. We were utilizing Highmark's insurance coverage in 2011, and we would do a short renewal period with them to get this on a July to June basis. So on this particular 6 months contract with them for stop loss coverage, they actually gave us a little over a 13% decrease on the per contract fee, whether it's a single contract or family contract. But the the total, one other feature we'd like to add to the plan this year is the flexible spending account arrangement for the employees. That's a plan that's completely voluntary. The employees don't have to participate in it. They can if they wish to do that. Blue Cross Blue Shield would administer that plan for us. There's an additional charge for that of $4 per person per month that actually participates in that plan. That would allow employees to reduce their income tax, their taxes that they pay by having money withheld from their check, set it aside. That would reimburse them for any out-of-pocket medical expenses they would incur throughout 2012. And we'll be working with the Blue Cross Blue Shield if we offer this to actually start it either February 1st or March 1st, give us plenty of time to explain that plan to the employees, how it could save them some money on their taxes, and the risk that they have with this if they participate in it. But ultimately what I'm asking you to consider is no changes to the employee benefits, to the health plan, adding that FSA possibility adding that flexible spending account arrangement, and then the contracts for Blue Cross Blue Shield, which would be an 18-month contract at $40.53 per member, plus the $4 for any member that participates in the FSA. And then the stop-loss contract would be with Highmark for $17.76 for each individual covered and $42.54 for any family that's covered under that stop-loss plan. And I'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Questions from the council?
Did you say an 18-month contract?
With Blue Cross Blue Shield, it'll be an 18-month contract. They've guaranteed the rate for through 2014.
Okay, but then it's just 6 months on the
6 months to get us to July with stop loss. Renegotiate that contract with stop loss come June to be effective July through June 30th of 2013. Yes.
On the flexible spending account you're going to offer as an option for the employee, how long are they going to have to study this that they can think about doing this, because it's going to be voluntary?
It's going to be voluntary, and that's the reason we're going to look at either a February 1st start date on that or even possibly the March start date. That way we'll give them at least a full month of January to meet with them and go over the plan and how it works. Try to start it by February 1st, but if we need more time, we'll wait till March, and that'll give them January and February to really think about it and to plan on what any medical expenses they know they might have coming up in 2012. They can kind of set that money aside and at least save the tax on some of that money that they could set aside for that.
And Blue Cross will send enrollees up here to sit with our employees and
they will
explain.
They'll
how
send reps up here to sit down, explain the
works.
plan with us and with the employees and go over that, yes, in detail with them.
Okay.
Yep.
Any other questions?
I'm good.
Any questions, comments from the audience? I think it's a good thing we're offering the FSA option. It's another benefit.
It is another
to take
benefit. And
advantage of.
there's
Yeah.
a possible, a good chance that they can save
Yeah.
quite a bit of money on their taxes, reduce their taxes.
All right. No questions? I'll vote.
5 yes votes, motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Davidson.
Thank you.
Item 13, consider authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement with Active Network to provide online program registration. Sponsor is Leisure Services Department, Mr. Rick Woods.
Thank you, Council, Mayor, members of Council. We're requesting your authorization for the city manager to execute an agreement with the Active Network for an online registration program. This agreement will allow us to transition from a strictly in-house registration for programs, classes, events, and facility rentals to an online registration service that will be hosted by the Active Network. Some of the benefits of that include it is a convenience for our customers in their ease of registration and for their ability to sign up for our classes and events from their own web-connected device. But it does not require them to do that. They can still come into any of our facilities and register as they have in the past. It also will eliminate our annual software maintenance fees and credit card service charges, which we estimate to be over $8,000 annually. There's a payback for our upfront costs of about $15,000 to get into this agreement and to have them to utilize our software, to utilize the Active Network. It's going to cost us $15,066 up front, but we're going to be saving annually a little over $8,000. Also, the Active Network program interfaces with our existing registration software so that we're able to keep our database and current files, and our staff is already familiar with the registration process and the reports that are available in that process through the software. So that eases our transition period and lessens the learning curve for us. And the way the program works, the Active Network charges the customers a small fee for registering, and they will collect all the registration fees and pay the City of Cookeville twice per month for the registrations for our classes and programs. The Active Network is a reputable, widely known recreation and leisure registration entity and used by providers throughout the country and throughout Tennessee, of course. Numerous parks and recreation departments in Tennessee utilize their services, including Johnson City, Oak Ridge, Maryville, Alcoa, Blount County, Athens, Mount Juliet, McMinnville, and many others. Again, the cost to us up front is $15,066. This is a budgeted item, something that we have planned for and something that we think will be a great benefit to our department and to our community. And we would recommend your approval, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Woods. Do we have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Questions?
Mr. Wood, didn't you indicate that you have registered online for things using this same service before? And
Yes,
is
I
it
have.
pretty user-friendly?
Very much so.
Oh, good.
Very much so. And you'll still be able to go to our website or our web page and find the class or program that you want. Click on that, and it will take you to the Active Network website, and vice versa. If you want more information, you're on Active Network, you will get information about activities that may be of interest to you. You'll be able to find out more by clicking on that and coming back to our website. So it's very user-friendly.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Just a statement. I mean, I mentioned this at work, made mention of this at work session, but I've been a consumer of this, just like you have, Rick, of being on the Active Network. And one of the things that I have found that the Active Network does is actually markets our community to folks out there that may not necessarily know about some of the things that we're doing. Within that Active Network, if somebody has an interest in, let's say runs, and they live within the area, that Active Network will notify them if there is a run or some sort of activity that they have interest in Cookeville, Tennessee. So it's basically a marketing tool. That's one thing that I've used and found very helpful, and it's very user friendly. It's seamless. It works great. So I'm very pleased to see us picking up this program. So I vote yeah. I'm ready to go.
Any other questions, comments? Anything from the audience? We better vote on this. I'll vote.
5 yes votes, motion carries.
Thank you. Item 14. Consider awarding bid for 2 utility vehicles. Leisure Services Department sponsor, Mr. Rick Woods.
Thank you. Mayor, members of council, we advertise and receive bids for utility vehicles to be utilized in our department, one at the Sportsplex and one at the Cookeville City Cemetery. We received 6 bids, and we're recommending the lowest bid meeting specifications. That would be Tri-Green Equipment. We're recommending them and would recommend your approval.
Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions from the council?
What kind of vehicle is it?
They're Gators.
Yeah, okay. That's what I thought, but
All right. Any more questions? Seeing none, all vote.
5 yes votes, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Woods. All right, this is part of our program where we like to hear from citizens and/or delegations. If anyone in the audience would like to come forward and say anything or ask questions, anything at all, feel free to come forward. Looks like we have a visitor.
they can get them talk.
I wouldn't do that to you. But thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. Anyone else? Council?
I think it's Alma's turn.
Thank you, Larry. I was going to remind everybody that the Cookeville Museum across the street from here has a lovely nativity, a bunch of nativities from around the world, and it's free. And if you're out and about, and beautiful weather is supposed to be this weekend, take a nice, good long walk and wander in there and see the nativity scenes.
Anyone else?
Yeah. I want to take this opportunity to thank all of you that are here and the other employees of the city, because you all make our job easy. You are so good at what you do, and it just shows through, and I want to thank you all, and I can probably speak for the rest of the council on this. And also wish you all a Merry Christmas and a happy and safe New Year.
I'll second that motion.
All right.
Also, shop locally.
Yes.
Yes. Please.
Lots.
Lots.
There's just a couple of things I wanted to mention. I had to sit in on a meeting today, this morning at 10:30, a conference call with a lot of the people in this room. Actually, with the Building and Finance Committee at the state level, we had to get a certificate of public purpose amended for the business park. And I know that's a mouthful, but we had to do that by law. And I sat in a room with County Executive Blaylock and the county attorney, with George Halford from the chamber, Lillian Hartgrove from the chamber, and with every department head in here, along with City Manager Shipley and City Attorney Dan Rader. And I sat back and watched all 3 different, I guess, government entities, so to speak, working together, and we got it passed and approved unanimously at the state level. And I think one of the reasons that happened is the fact that we had 3 different government bodies working so well together. And they were impressed. Gail and Melinda did an excellent job. At the state level, they were very impressed with how the paperwork that you guys turned in to get that done. And I think that's what makes this region so strong, is the fact that we can come together in a room, city, county, chamber, and even other cities in our county, Allgood, Baxter, Monterey, and we can work together. That just shows how strong that this area is, because a lot of counties and cities can't do that, and but we can. And I was very, very impressed with everybody in that room and how all that took place. The other thing, recently in the Upper Cumberland Business Journal, I don't know if anybody saw this, but there's a report that comes out every November. It's done by the Beacon Center, and it's an independent study done for how business-friendly are Tennessee's cities, and they rank the top 50 in the state, top 50 largest cities in the state where they rank. And they base it off of business tax burden, economic vitality, and community allure. And I thought that was interesting. I read it. I read the report today, and just saw on there that Cookeville is ranked 18th out of the top 50 We were actually 27th last year, so we went from 27th to 18th. So I thought that's something to brag about a little bit. Another thing to brag on Cookeville about. So anyway, those are two things I wanted to mention, and also wanted to tell everybody Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And again, like everyone else said, shop locally as much as you can. Anything else? All right, this meeting's adjourned.
So be it. So let it be said.
Yeah.